This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Profitability Movement. Google Profitability-Movement to join this community of business owners focused on building profit, increasing wealth, and giving back. Thank you for joining us. Here's how we will help your business and you today. Here's an out-of-the-box way that you might increase employee satisfaction and attract more employees to your company. Pay them every day. Sound like a lot of work? Does it sound nuts? My guest today, Brian Atwood, Chief Revenue Officer for Everee, can tell you how some contractors have done this very successfully. Brian, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thanks, Ruth. Good to be here. Appreciate you having us on.
Oh, my pleasure. A little bit of history between Brian and I is I was at Service World last week, and one of the guys in their booth came up to me and we started talking, and it's like, I was waiting for somebody to do this in this industry, and you guys did it. Yay.
we did do it, and we're not fully out there in the market, but it's exciting to run into thought leaders like yourself that are making great strides in this space, because we know exactly the value the contractors bring to the market. So it was a good connection.
Yeah, now that we have them totally confused, like, what are you two talking about? Explain, Everee.
Yeah. So Everee is a full-service payroll and contractor payments platform that, in simple terms, it just makes it easier for businesses to pay workers as often as daily. So we take all the busy work out of that comes with payroll, so you can pay people in seconds and get back to running your business with the things that are important to you.
Cool. So in other words, I can work today, get paid tomorrow.
Correct. Exactly.
And
you could actually work today and actually get paid today if it's within a certain time limit too. So
yeah, well, the likelihood of that happening is probably in our industry, at least, is probably slim, because we got to figure out what they actually did and did they finish the job, and all those minor things that come about from there. Because I don't think we want to pay them until they actually finish, right?
Correct. Yeah, you want to make sure you have the checks and balances on the work that's being done, for sure. But as soon as the work's done and you verified it, we can process that payment really, really quick right after that.
Yeah. So let's talk about you. You have some people who have very successfully attracted employees as a result of this, correct?
We have, with the market the way it is right now and some of the pressure that's on the workers, daily pay is a competitive advantage for customers. And so retaining and recruiting those workers, especially ones that are really valuable to the growth of your business, is key. And we've done some work and research behind the scenes to be able to do this. So we have surveyed over 2,000 workers in the last year on how they want to get paid. And the data that's come back from these workers is that faster pay influences the job candidates and the employers that they go to.
Okay, so we're not talking about a manager person here. We're talking about a field worker, like a tech or an installer or a journeyman or something like that, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're talking about those classification of workers.
Yeah, we're talking about those who go to QT every morning and buy beer and whatever else.
That's right. Yeah, like 82% of those independent contractors said they would be more likely to work for a company if they got paid on the same day as the work that they performed.
Yeah.
So we are talking that consumer base, or that worker base that you mentioned, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it. How many times and I'm talking to everybody who's listening right now, do your field employees come to you and say, can I get, a $50 advance on my paycheck for next week or something like that? I mean, it happens all the time because they don't manage their money well.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's really something that this might alleviate that, because they are getting paid every day, but they could also spend it every day too. I mean, but that's up to them, correct?
It is. At least they have the earnings that they have from the job that they've done in their pocket. And so this kind of comes back to some of the survey results we have, and we've found over time is, 54% of the Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And so, let's say the normal worker goes out, does the job, and they're in the 2-week pay cycle or a monthly, or, we've seen some workers in this space, Ruth, getting paid after 60, 90 days because that's how invoices are coming back in for businesses. And so,
Uh-huh.
them being able to not take out payday loans or try to front cash when things happen in their lives that force them to need that pay immediately. We see that as a more positive outcome for the employer
Well,
and the employee.
and the employee too. I mean, the
Yeah.
payday loans are expensive.
Yeah. And so, when we talk about expensive and the payday loans, like that's kind of been the option traditionally for workers to go out and take advantage of those payday loans. But 85% of independent contractors don't have enough to cover an emergency expense.
Yeah.
And so we see this as a way to be able to, if you're an employer, unlock that for your workers in a really positive way where they can have access to those funds. And then, hey, listen, they've earned it. They've already done the work for it.
Yeah. And I have a back end piece of it too. Let's assume, I mean, depends upon what state you're in, but a lot of times, we work a week and we get paid the following week. So you actually have a week's worth of work that you're getting paid the following week. So if they quit, obviously by law, you have to pay them for that. But if you've paid them every single day, there's really no final paycheck that you have to get ready type thing. It's done.
Yeah. And it's a key point.
It's the negative side. And, me, I'm not a negative person by nature, but this is a benefit to an employer. You don't have to look at, okay, payroll was there. Did he input his timesheet? Did it get done right? Or did he add up his hours? Did they add up right? I mean, it's done. Like, if you're paying them every single day, if they decide that they're going to leave, you've got one day's worth of pay, maybe. Well, probably
Right.
one day's worth of pay. So from that perspective, that's pretty cool. When we get back from the break, I want to talk about how you handle overtime and double time and things like that. Can we do that?
You bet.
All right. So thank you for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm talking with Brian Atwood, who is the Chief Revenue Officer of Everee. And Brian, give everybody where they can contact you if they have questions.
Yeah, you can go to everee.com. Our website is there, and there's a number of different ways you can contact us through the page. It's probably the easiest. We also have an offer for the group here at offers.everee.com/HVAC.
Okay, cool. And we will be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. You can't. That's what my daughter Kate told me when I said I wanted to make financials fun. The gauntlet was laid down. The red blanket was waved in front of the bowl. Ronan the Rubber Duck was born. This ebook is a whimsical look at financials from a duck's perspective. To get this fun, easy-to-read Kindle book, go to Amazon and search for Ronan the Rubber Duck Dives into Financials. That's RONAN, the Rubber Duck Dives into Financials. Let me know if I made financials fun for you. We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. My guest today is Brian Atwood, who is the Chief Revenue Officer for Everee. And Everee is EVEREE. So when you go to the website, do EVEREE. Correct?
That is it. Yep.
All right. So let's assume that, for most of what we do, we get paid, if they work over 40 hours and in the wonderful state of California, if they work over 8 hours in a day, they get paid for overtime that day. And it doesn't matter whether they work 40 hours for the week to get overtime. So how do you deal with different state regulations about keeping track of overtime hours and double time hours? Like this in some of the cities, if you work on a Sunday or a holiday, it's double time. How do you work with that?
Yeah, so there are rules within our platform that can be followed. We are in all 50 states, and so we follow the rules at a state level. And we also have the ability to run scheduling and managing your time clock for your workers within our platform. So another huge advantage of that is being able to do exactly what you're talking about, is making sure that your manager verifications on those employers as they log their time are buttoned down, and you can improve the accuracy with exactly what is being logged and how to log those overtime hours and kind of the nuances state by state to be able to make sure you're paying your people the right amount.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes with 50 different rules and regulations and 50 different
Yeah.
states. I mean, it's crazy, you know, and I work all over the country. So I see all the different rules and regulations like,
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned California, because that's probably the toughest one with all the different overtime rules, the break and break rules that they
oh my
have
God.
that are required. And so like it's super important that we're aligned to what those rules are. We're aware of them, because at the end of the day, the employers are responsible for making sure the employees are following those rules. And so you'll see within our system, in our platform, the ability to navigate through those nuances as you log time for and scheduling for your workers.
Cool. All right. So let's assume that I go to the website and I say, okay, I'm really interested. I want to sign up. What's the process and how long does that take?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty quick. So, traditionally, I think there's probably a bunch of people that are listening to this right now saying, "Oh, I don't want to go through the rigor of trying to
Yeah,
set up
exactly.
payroll." Yeah, so I mean, depending on what the demographic of your organization looks like or your company looks like, we see people getting on and implemented and running payroll within a few days to a couple weeks, and it just is dependent on the information we collect from the employer at the time. But especially for 1099 contractor type worlds, it's very smooth and easy process. So we could get you up and running really, really quickly, which takes a lot of the rigor out of maybe your traditional payroll setup. That should be out the door at this point with using Everee.
Yeah. I mean, because the employees have to give you their checking account numbers and all that sort of fun stuff too, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And so when we go down that path, usually we have two experiences. One where the administrators are actually onboarding into our product and they are learning how to utilize it and how to actually set it up. And then the other side is we automate the ability to actually go to the worker and collect the information for you. So there shouldn't be a huge burden on the admins or the company itself to gather that information. We try to reach out to the workers to go get that, as long as we have their information to do so, and then they can actually self onboard. Or the option is to do a bulk upload if you have a lot of that information of your employees or contractors up front.
Yeah. All right. What do you do in the case where 90% of your employees have direct deposit and you have the other 10%, you still write them a check?
Yeah, so you can still do that with our platform.
Okay.
There's a certain way we teach you exactly how to do that. Obviously, in today's day, like a lot of people like the direct deposit route, which is what our platform is built around, is being able to push the payment quickly. But there are options where you actually say you paid someone and then you just cut a check internally and it logs it within our system. So then you don't have to actually play this back and forth between your bookkeeping and our platform. It's all logged there. All the taxes will come out like normal for the employees.
Okay, cool. Because it can be you have one or two who just don't have access to a checking account or whatever else it is. And those are the tough ones.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. But there is a solution within our system that we teach you, like, hey, here's how you navigate between people that still need checks cut for them.
Yeah, good. Okay. So let's assume that we're in a situation where I'm onboarding a brand new employee. So this employee says, yeah, I want to get paid every day, like everybody else is. And do you have the option, they onboard today, can they get paid tomorrow? Or does it take a couple of days?
No, I mean, you can run the payment the same day if you wanted to. So like a lot of our tagline is like hire today, get paid today, or get paid tomorrow. And so
Yeah.
it's a matter of how they get onboarded. But yeah, there's the experience from an employee side is simplified, where we collect that information with a couple steps for the employee to get into the system. Or again, if you're collecting it from an employer side, you can do an upload right into our system. There's also open APIs, which, is the communication path between two different systems if you're
Sure.
utilizing that from a bookkeeping standpoint. So there are some integration work that we could do there as well too that simplify this for you. But a one-off employee, yeah, get hired today, you should be able to get paid tomorrow if you've done the work today. So
Good. Okay. So that's that perspective. So let's talk about, I know you've also done research from the standpoint of keeping employees and making sure, how this has helped keep them satisfied and actually staying with the company. You've done that sort of research too, correct?
we have, yeah, and we've done it with a subset of customers that we have. But it's interesting to see that, 90% of 1099 workers and 72% of hourly workers want daily or weekly pay. And we actually see a bump with recruiting and retention with those customers that are putting that out there as an option in their recruiting practices to say, hey, we offer daily pay. Some customers are seeing upwards of 30% lift in their recruiting. And from a retention standpoint, that's a little bit harder number to get to, but we are impacting that number as well.
Oh, I'm sure you are, because if they're working today and getting paid today, they can brag to all their friends and said, hey, da, 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 type thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But cool. All right. So give me the website again and talk about the offer.
Yeah. So the website is everee.com. It's EVEREE.com. And you can go to there. We're also offering for any listeners on the podcast here, one free month of free payroll or payment processing, depending on if you're 1099 or W-2 environment. And you can go to offers.everee, EVEREE.com/HVAC to look at that offer of the 1 month free.
Okay, Brian, thank you so much. It's something that I've been looking towards, somebody doing this for our industry, and I'm glad that Everee did it.
Well, appreciate that. And there's still a lot of work to go, but we are trying to help the worker at the bottom line so they don't run into the cash struggles, but also the employer so they can offer something a little bit different that is a value to their employees. And so we're excited to be in this space. And we've met a ton of great industry leaders and like yourself that are helping this movement in this space as well with new technologies and things that are coming out. So appreciate us being here.
Well, my pleasure. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.